On this week's episode of The Practical Pro Musician, let's talk about how trying to come up with the perfect plan for your music career might be harming your music career and what you can do to fix it. Stay tuned. We love playing music, but it seems like the odds of making a living as a professional musician are about as high as winning the lottery. So the big question is this: how do musicians like us, with jobs, families, and responsibilities, get from where we are today to making a practical living playing music we love? Well, my name is Daniel Hadaway, and this show will give you the answers. This is The Practical Pro Musician. Welcome back. How are you? It's The Practical Pro Musician. My name is Daniel, and I am so happy that you are joining me once again as we talk about music careers, making a living off of playing music, doing something that we love. If you're here and that's you, or that you would like that to be you, then you're in the right place. So welcome in. I'm so happy that you are here. Today is interesting because it's funny, I had an idea for what I wanted to talk about today, and then it's interesting how things work out like this sometimes. The concept that I wanted to talk about today actually is kind of something that I'm dealing with right now in real life. not in the music business side of things, but in my day job. And so I thought it was really interesting that I kind of thought about talking about this already. And then even earlier in the day today, as I'm recording this, this came up, and it's just really interesting that it happened that way. And so I'm going to tell you first about kind of what's going on in my day job life, so that you kind of get an idea and a perspective. And I bet by the time I get to talking about it in terms of music, you might have an idea of where I'm going with it. Sorry, I'm adjusting my microphone while I'm talking here. Hey, you know what? I don't edit this thing very much. I just let it roll. I hit record and we just start going. Okay, so part of what I do in my job is I have to oversee a lot of different things. I have to, without getting too specific in what I do, I have to oversee a lot of different aspects of the company that I work for, and keep a lot of things kind of rolling along, a lot of projects moving at once. And I've got one kind of major technical project that I'm just getting started on, and it's got to be ready in a few weeks. It's like a big kind of like website thing that I'm working on. And if you've been on any of like my website or like promusician.org or anything like that, like those are all sites that I built practically myself. I used a template on one of them, but then I kind of did the other one from scratch. And so I've got some experience. In fact, a long time ago when I first, actually this was even before I got my first real big paying gig as a drummer. I was earning somewhat of a living making websites and things like that. I've never been super technical, but it's just part of kind of what I like to do. And it's fun. It's kind of like, I always like building things with my hands. I like, around the house, craft projects and small little, like, I don't know, like building little things out of wood or whatever. I'm not a craftsman either. I'm not really any of these things full on, but I really enjoy just kind of having fun with all these different kinds of things. So doing websites is kind of my way of being able to kind of create something from scratch and look at that and say, man, I made that. That's really cool. So anyway, I've got this major project that's going on, and there's a lot of moving parts to it. And I've been planning things out for a couple of weeks, the specifics of how I think I should do this or that, and I think I need to use this piece here. And the problem is that this has to go out to a lot of different people to use in their own way. It's kind of like software almost in that way. And I've never done something exactly like this before. I basically have done every piece of it in different places, but never all in one place. And so I've spent a lot of time planning, and In like my perfect world in my mind, what I would love to happen is I would love to like have planned it all out and said, I'm not going to waste any time once I start building this thing. I'm not going to take like the construction metaphor a step further. Like I'm not going to like, make a wrong cut anywhere or have any extra wood left over on this one piece and then have to go back and take something apart and cut it off later because I didn't think that piece through. I don't want any of that stuff metaphorically happening with this technical project I'm working on. Because I just want it to be clean and neat and fast working for everybody and all this stuff. And I think that if I had, maybe done 10 of these before, I could get to that point where I could do that. I could be that efficient with everything. But the reality is that I haven't. And at a certain point, and that point really came yesterday, but I really kind of I hit a technical issue yesterday. So I really was able to do it, make it, put my money where my mouth was today. I basically had to get to the point where I said, I don't really, I have to be okay with the fact that I might make a few of those wrong cuts, or I might leave something, I might realize later on in the project that I really should have done something different. And I have to kind of double back on my efforts and redo something that I'd already done because it's not going to work the way I hoped. And that, like, the personality type that I am, that just drives me crazy. But I have to accept that and move forward, because the problem was all of my planning was holding me up from actually doing any of it. And as I'm planning, that deadline is coming closer and closer. The deadline's not moving. I'm just eating up the time that I have to actually do the work. And the truth is, if I had gotten to the point where I felt like I had planned everything out, and prevented all those issues, chances are something was still going to pop up and prevent me from doing it exactly how I planned. So there was a certain healthy amount of planning that I had to get to, and then I had to say, you know what, it's time to just start doing it and start somewhere and be okay with the fact that any or maybe even all of this will have to get scrapped a few times before it's in its final form, and be happy with it. And so that's where I'm at right now, kind of like in my day-to-day life. Now, I want to kind of take a time warp back, maybe 15 years or so, when I was, I was about to say I was a teenager. I wasn't a teenager 15 years ago, but a long time ago when I was a teenager, and I had made the full decision. I want to be a drummer I want to be a musician, professional musician. I want to be a drummer. I want to do that for a living. I want to be a professional. And I started thinking through all of these things that I need to do. And a lot of them were wrong, but I still thought of them and, had a running list in my mind of, I need to have a press kit where I can have a folder with all of what I've played on and a demo CD. And I need a website, and I need this and that. I need this piece of gear. I need to make sure that I can do this, and I have to talk to these people, and I need to meet this person. And I had all these things that I thought I needed to do. And like I said, most of them were probably wrong. And I didn't have the things that I really probably needed to do, and the things that contributed to my music career that I eventually was able to get to. A lot of the things that I actually did that for me were not things that I had thought of when I was a teenager. They're things that came up later on down the road that I realized. And a lot of things I did without realizing that I was doing them. And there's just a lot of different things that weren't things that I planned on at the outset. But I know so many people now. I talk to so many musicians. I hear from so many musicians, and maybe you're one of them, that they want to put off really doing anything that they might feel like is kind of risky. And I don't mean like quit your day job type risky. I just mean like putting yourself out there, or like talking to your friends about what your dreams are as a musician, or things like that. They're putting off any of that until they've got a solid plan in place to do it all, to accomplish it all. And if I had done that when I was a teenager, number one, I'm not that good of a planner, so I wouldn't have done that. But if I had done that, what would have happened is this. I would have said, okay, I need a press kit, And I think I did actually make a press kit, but so let's say I did that. So I had like this folder that had like some kind of logo on it or something with my name. And I had a demo CD in that folder, and I had a headshot, and I had a bio of all the cool things that I'd done as a teenager playing drums. But if I had put all that together, and I did put that together, and then started handing it out to, I don't know who I thought I was going to hand it to, or started sending it to record labels or whatever you do. And I thought, okay, that's the first step in my process. And then after that, I'm going to hear from some people. They're going to contact me and say, I want you to come try out for this gig. And then I'm going to prepare for that gig, and I'm going to go do the tryout. I'm going to get, like, if I had this whole kind of process mapped out in my mind of what was going to happen or how I needed to get there, well, if I built that whole thing up and that was my path, and that was the way to do it, the second that something gave me the indication that it wasn't going to, that one piece of that was not working, well, then that kind of crumbles the whole process, the whole structure in my mind I built up of the plan that I had. It all goes crumbling down. If I had sent out those press kits and no one contacted me, well, if my whole plan was built on people contacting me as a result of my press kit, and that was the only way it was going to happen, well, then my whole plan crashed and burned, and I'm back to square one. I'm back to planning again, and I'm back to waiting to do something until I've got another plan that I think is quote unquote fail safe. And so what I want to encourage you to do today is this. I want to encourage you to do one thing, and then I want to encourage you not to do another thing. One thing that I do want to encourage you to do is do make a plan, or do put some things down on paper or on a computer, or a note on your phone, or whatever it is, of some things you think you would like to do in order to pursue a music career. Things you think you might need to do along the way. They don't have to be in any order. In fact, it's better if they're not in any order. It's not a 1, 2, 3, do this first, do this second, do this third. It is just a brain dump of everything you can come up with that you think you might want to do in order to become a professional musician, or just kind of start moving down that path. And that's what I would encourage you to do. What I would encourage you not to do is, like I said, don't put it in any order, and don't wait to get started. Just do something, and know that, like I'm talking about with this tech project that I'm working on right now, just know that chances are a good bit of what you do right now won't work. But like a lot of my songwriter friends tell me, you got to write the bad songs to get to the good songs. And you got to show up every day and do something in order to hit on the thing that actually does work and kind of gets you some traction. And eventually, if you do this enough, you have to get practiced at the skill of finding gigs and working through that. And so I think it's like a fire truck driving by right now. I don't think it's going to be too loud. You may not even hear it in the podcast. Anyway, you have to get good at the skill of getting gigs, of finding and keeping gigs. You have to practice that skill. And so you've got to just start doing things to get better at it. And as you get better at it, just like a songwriter, you might get better at quickly identifying what is working and what's not working. I don't write a ton of songs. I write a lot of like tracks and things, and I start on a lot of ideas, and I finish as many as I can. The idea is to finish an idea. I used to do one every day. I haven't recently been able to do that, but I will tell you that when I was doing that, when I was writing something every day, I was writing a lot of really bad stuff, but I also created my best work, musically speaking, when I was writing music every day. So, and I was able to more quickly identify as I moved through that and did that month after month, I started getting better at realizing that I was on to something good with a certain idea, and also was quicker to realize that this one probably won't work out too well, but I'm going to finish it because that's the discipline, as I try to finish something. And you're going to get better at that too with opportunities and pursuits you might have with your music career. But do something, even if it's on your list, just start somewhere. Do something and know that it might fail. It probably will fail, but you're going to have to start getting through some of those things to start finding those nuggets of gold in the middle of all the other stuff that's not going to work so well. So today, I just want to encourage you, make a list, not a order of events, but a list of things that you would like you think you might need to do in order to start building that music career, and then start doing something. But don't put off your action plan. Don't put that off waiting for the correct plan or the perfect plan. You're never going to have the perfect plan. You just have to get started. And then you can kind of make adaptations as you move along that path to becoming a professional musician. All right. Well, thanks for joining me this week. I hope this has helped you out. I hope it's encouraged you to keep moving along in your music career. We will talk again soon. If I didn't say it already, my name is Daniel Hadaway. This is the Practical Pro Musician, and I am so thankful that you joined me again this week. We'll talk again next week. Bye for now.